Today we're going to be looking at one of the rarest Plants vs. Zombies plushes to ever be made. As well, the company Bear Workshop made two separate Plants vs. Zombies plushes, one normal plush set and also one hand warmer plush set. And what all the hand warmer plush set is that just as the normal plushes, except they have two holes in them to warm up your hands with. And well, even though it sounds like a pretty simple concept, all these plushes are actually extremely rare and some of the rarest Plants vs. Zombies plushes to ever be released. As of the majority of the plushes in the set actually have no documented images of them that prove that they even exist. But first, we're going to be starting off with the Walnut. Now, before anything, obviously, this is a really bad image, as though this is the only image of the Walnut hand warmer plush that we have. So sadly, I can't really review the entire plush, as though we don't even have a full image of the plush, but I'm just going to review what we can, and from what we can see, it actually looks pretty good. As well, the eyes on this plush are actually separate pieces of plush material that are nicely stuffed, so they actually look a bit more 3D, and they actually give the plush a bit more detail. And while the pupils in the eyes are nicely embroidered on, and same thing with the eyebrows and mouth. And while we could also see some little extra detail, like some embroidery on the side of the plush that just seems to give it a little extra detail to make the plush look more accurate to the game. And while we could also see a little more than in the bottom left of the plush, but besides that, that's really all I could say about it, as well we don't really have a full image of the plush. Meaning that from what I could see, this plush actually looks pretty good, and I do imagine if we do ever find a full image of it, it would actually be a pretty good full looking plush. But for what I can see now, it actually looks pretty good, and if you want any of the plushes in this video, you can look on websites like eBay, Mercari, and Zanio, but you have a really low chance of finding them. Now moving on to the next plush, we have the Lily Pad. Now this is actually one of my favorite Lily Pad plushes that were ever made, as well it actually looks really good. As well, once again, just like the Walnut, the eyes are a separate piece of plush material stitched onto the rest of it, which just gives it a bit more detail in my opinion. The eyes also have some eyelids on it, and the pupils are nicely embroidered on, so yeah, overall, I think that the eyes on this plush look really good and they're accurate to the game. There's also some embroidery on the back of the plush with some dark green lines just to give it a bit more detail and make it look more accurate, and it's one of the only Lily Pad plushes to actually do that. As well, the majority of the Lily Pad plushes that were made never really got that, as well, for whatever reason, they just decided to make a normal Lily Pad and never add any extra details to it, but this company decided to do that. Which I think makes the plushes look a little better, and the actual shape of the Lily Pad also looks pretty good. And while obviously the shape on all these plushes are a little messed up because of the actual hand warmers, as well as the actual use of the plush. So even though the shape of it is a little messed up because of that, I'm still not going to say that's a bad plush, as well it's supposed to do that, as well that's how it was supposed to be made. So yeah, overall in my opinion, I think that all the details on this plush actually look really good, and it's one of my favorite Lily Pad plushes that were ever made due to just all the details on it looking really good. Now next up we have the Squash. Now the one image that we have of this plush is actually from a really weird angle, as well we can't really see the right side of the plush. As well, since the one picture that we have of it is just taken from a really weird angle, it's kind of hard to tell. But from what we can see on this plush, it actually does look really good. As well, it seems that the eyes and eyebrows are separate pieces of plush material, and it actually makes the face look pretty good. Though it does sort of make the eyes look like they're bulging out of the head, and it sort of gives the Squash like a surprise expression. As well, there's actually a non-hand warmer version of this plush, which is basically just the exact same as the normal Squash plush, and it gives it a sort of surprise expression. And while the mouth is also nicely embroidered on, and it actually just makes the plush look a little better, and there's also some extra detail on the bottom of the Squash. And while the stem on this plush is also nicely shaped, so it just gives it a bit more detail and makes it look more accurate to the game. And while for the actual shape of the Squash plush, it actually looks really good, as well as nicely shaped, so it makes it look more accurate, besides the fact that there's hand warmers on the side of it, which just kind of messed up the shape. As well, since there is hand warmers on this plush, it just sort of messes up the shape, just like the Lily Pad plush, but still, it looks alright. So yeah, overall, besides the eyes on this plush, which do look pretty weird, I think that the rest of the plush overall looks really good, with all the details and everything. Now next up we have the Tall Nut. Now the eyes on this plush are basically just the exact same eyes that are used on the Walnut plush, so they overall look pretty good. They're just sort of facing us a different way than the Walnut plushes, although the Tall Nut has a different expression, so they just slightly changed the eyes on how they're faced. And while for the embroidery, it actually looks really good with the mouth and the eyebrows, as well I think they got the expression on this plush really well done. As well, Walnut has a pretty distinct expression, so I think overall this company did a great job doing that, and they also had embroidered on some extra detail on the bottom of the plush. And while I think all the embroidery on the bottom of the plush just gives it a bit more detail, and overall makes it look nicer. And while the only part of the plush that is really messed up is the actual shape of it, as once again, just like the squash and lily pad, the shape of it is pretty messed up because of the hand warmers. As well, the bottom of the plush has to be a lot wider, so yeah, overall, the bottom of the plush is just a bit too wide, and the top of it is also sort of weirdly shaped. So yeah, honestly, besides the fact that it's weirdly shaped, I think that the rest of the plush overall looks really good. As well, I like all the details that they embroidered on and everything. It's overall a really nice looking plush in my opinion. Now next up we have the Magnet-shroom. Now the eyes and eyebrows overall look pretty good, as well they're actually separate pieces of plush material, just like basically every single other plush in a set, which just makes them look better in my opinion. And while the eyebrows are also made out of a slightly different material, as you can tell from the pictures, the eyebrows are just slightly more fuzzy, just to give it a bit more detail, I guess. As well, I can't really imagine any other scenario where they would decide to make the eyebrows just a bit more fuzzy besides to add a bit more detail. I think that they look pretty good. And while the actual stem bud part of the plush is very inspired based off of the limited edition Magnet-shroom plushes, well, it basically uses the exact same thing that plush did. As well, it makes it so that the stem and the purple mushroom parts are just really small in this plush, which does make it sort of look weird, and it's not really the part of the plush that I like. As well, I think it just would have looked a lot better if they made it a little bit bigger, but besides that one detail, I think that the rest of the plush overall looks pretty good, and the rest of the plush sort of makes up for it. And well, for the actual shape of the Magnet-shroom, I once again think that they did a pretty good job of it, as well. I like how it's nicely shaped, and I also think that the gray parts of the magnet also look pretty good. So yeah, overall, besides the stem and the little mushroom parts of the plush, I think that the rest of it overall looks really good. And well, next up we have the gold magnet, which looks very similar to the Magnet-shroom. As well, it basically just uses the exact same pattern, except there's just a few details that are changed. As well, the stem is just a slightly different color than the Magnet-shroom, and it's also the same shape, and there's also leaves on this plush instead of mushrooms. And while I think that the leaves overall look pretty good, as well they have a little bit of extra detail onto them, as well they're cut out slightly differently just to give it a bit more detail, and there's also some embroidery on them. So I think the leaves overall look pretty good, and well, that's all I can really say about this plush, as well the rest of it is literally just the exact same as the Magnet-shroom, except that the colors are changed. So yeah, the rest of the plush is basically identical to the Magnet-shroom, except that the colors are just changed on this plush to make it look more like a gold magnet. Which does make sense, as though all gold magnet is just an upgraded version of the Magnet-shroom, so it sort of makes sense why they use basically the exact same pattern. And well, those are all the plushes that we actually have images for, but there's actually 4 more plushes in the set that we don't have any images of. And well, you're probably wondering how we even know the plushes exist if there's no images of them. Well, the only reason why we know that these plushes exist is that someone actually talked to an employee from this company that said that all of these plushes were turned into hand warmers. Meaning that somewhere out there's a sunflower hand warmer, a jalapeno hand warmer, a starfruit hand warmer, and a gloomshroom hand warmer. Currently, we don't really have any images of any of those plushes besides the fact that this one employee said that it exists. And while it actually sort of makes sense that there's more plushes to the set, as well, the majority of the plushes in the set that we looked over only has one image of them. And while the Walnut doesn't even have a full complete image to it, which just sort of shows that these plushes are extremely rare. So it's really not that surprising that there's actually 4 plushes in the set that don't really have any images of them, making it so that this is one of the rarest Plants vs. Zombies plush sets that exist. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like, subscribe, and comment down below which of these plushes are your favorite, and yeah, have a great day.